May 1st, 2025, 5:38 p.m. I'm Wade Allen Heineman. This is for youtube.com/@ WADEALANHEINEMNMN. And my only social media, x.com/WADES2ND. Not used Facebook in 4 years. I've not left Iowa in 2025 at all. I've not been outside the boundaries of Iowa. I've not worked for anyone since 2018. I'm self-employed as a property investor and developer right now. I've not gotten much done due to the 7 weeks of energy attacks, as I've documented. I've never been female nor wanted to be. I'm a male heterosexual, always and forever. Always been male, never been LGBTQIA+. Again, June 1st, 2025, 5:38 p.m. And this is my F-350. Again, as you can see, I'm on my father's property here. I'm not at home. I left home approximately 4:10 p.m. It's my F-350. And back in and show some of my rocks that I've gathered again on my parents' property, as always, even though the frauds have played their little trick of stealing my valuable stones and putting their crap stones back on my piles. They've stolen 80% of the count of valuable stones. I'm not saying the value. I don't know about overall value of what they've stolen. 80%, if you count them up, they've stolen 80% of the count of valuable stones. And a lot of the stones that I have are not valuable. Some of them I just gather for figuring out what they are or because I like them, but a lot of them are valuable. So 10.7-inch hand, as always. Scarred finger. Not showing my face due to digital deceivers, either zooming my face in on a lot of prior videos or putting big wrinkles on or next to or under my eyes, which don't exist. And I don't wear makeup ever. There's like a dust that sticks to my face from the atmosphere that cakes onto my skin. But since I don't have a shower for the last few years due to living basically homelessly, and 7 weeks energy attacks have prevented me from getting a shower this spring, which was on my priority list, I can't get that stuff off my skin very easily. So it is not makeup. If there's anything being portrayed on my skin, it's sticking to my face from what's ever in the air. We need to ban Palantir and Alex Karp. They're deceptive. I'll say that again, but I'm going to try and re-explain what I explained on my last physics post, physics video or audio. It's difficult for me to explain what I'm wanting to explain because it's a new concept, number one, which is always difficult for a physicist to come up with a new concept and then come up with the language to use. That's number one. Number two, it's a confusing concept. Number three, I'm not a full-time physicist. So, and number four, autistic spectrum, my autistic spectrum, like a lot of people's, we have difficulty with speech a lot of times, and mine is like a, what is it when you switch the words around when you're reading? I don't have problems reading, but I have problems when I'm trying to speak and trying to get out of my head what is in my head. When you switch the words when you're trying to read and you have a learning disability because of that. I just said the word last night and now I'm forgetting it again. Anyway, it's like that with trying to verbalize. Anyway, what I was trying to say again last night is that it's not a fact that photons have been proven to have no mass. The only way that they had gathered evidence for that was that there was no mass lost. And I've said it in a confusing way. I said they measured it last night, and it came out sounding like it said that it measured that they did have mass. When they measured it, it didn't have. They're saying it didn't have mass because there's no mass lost. But the way I explained it last night, it wasn't clear. And this is what I'm saying is like this concept is new, number one. Number two, it's confusing because you have to try and picture a photon that they're saying doesn't have mass and I'm saying does have mass. And because everything that has energy has to have mass. That's the way Einstein explained it, and that's the way E equals mc squared. Evidently, Einstein went along with photons that photons do not have mass, but I disagree with that because with a no momentum photon ether, you can take that same measurement, get the same result, and still have a no momentum ether where the no momentum photons have a mass, but they're transferring the energy from one to the next and not the mass. They're just bouncing. They're transferring energy like a pool ball does. Just like I said, that's how South America and Africa were moved south and east when the large meteor hit the Gulf of Mexico and created the Gulf of Mexico by the back force. That was my idea, and I said compared it to pool balls. So whoever tried to claim these ideas, they're my ideas. So they're not have nothing to do with AI either. AI didn't come up with them. I've never used Grok or any other AI system. Chat GPT, I've never used that. I create my own words. I've been writing poems for 34 years now. And they are all my own words. I've been crafting words for 34 years. So that's why I can craft words the way I do. I don't need to read books every year or every day or every month. Whoever the book reading fraud is, they come up with these slogans like, if it's not on paper, it doesn't exist. Or a few years ago, if it wasn't on video, it didn't exist. And before that, it was if it wasn't a picture, it didn't exist. So I slowly adapted, and then they kept changing the game of their fraud from one to the next. And whoever it is now is saying, if it's not on paper, it doesn't exist. So this kind of coincides with them stealing my receipts and me, getting frustrated with me not getting anywhere by posting my receipts constantly for years and then just giving up on that. And then after that, they say, these frauds come up with the slogan, if it's not on paper, it doesn't exist. That's what I hear, but I don't know who the frauds are. I just know what their slogans are. They're fraud slogans, how they try and trick everyone into thinking that they're correct and the truthful people like me are incorrect when I'm the one coming up with all the ideas. So I confusingly said it again last night, even though I thought I was clearing it up. I went back through it, and it sounds like when I said it, I didn't say it exactly that. It sounded like when they measured it that there was mass. What I meant, what I said was when they measured it, I don't even know how I put it, but I listened to it and it was like, it doesn't, I didn't make it clear enough. And because of that, people could misinterpret it. But I did, state that my theory is that the no momentum photons do have mass and they're just transferring the energy from one to the next, which is what I meant. But when the only proof for what they say is a photon with no mass is that it doesn't lose there's no mass lost from the origin of a photon and no mass gained at the end. But that would be true in an ether made of no momentum photons packed closely together where they're transferring their energy from one to the next. That's what I was trying to say last night, which is what I was trying to say the first time. But because these concepts are new and confusing, and because I'm not well versed in talking about them, which happens every time somebody comes up with a new theory. They have to get the wording down, and they are working on, building their dialogue as they're, practicing doing it. And I have to do it in front of the whole public, whereas, scientists can work in their cubicles and their private spaces for years and then finally get everything, put together and then put it all out at once. Where I am, everybody sees my little errors as I go along, and then they point out one error and try to, try to discount my whole thing. But, I said it generally correctly last night. I just said it a little bit confusingly, but, so the ether would dissipate. Another point I made last night is the ether dissipates the further away you get away from Earth, just like the atmosphere does, but I don't know where the cutoff point is on the ether. It's out there past the atmosphere somewhere, and I just don't know how far out it would go, but I've seen maps of dark matter, and I would say they coincide. The maps of a no momentum photon ether would coincide with the dark matter maps that are made of around Earth and around the solar system. That's where the dark matter maps would coincide with, and around the galaxies. So it just gets thinner and thinner as you go out further from the centers of mass. I don't want to go on and on with that. I'm still stumbling around today. The 7 weeks of energy attacks, I've only had a little over a week now to start healing. It takes me about a month to heal from 7 weeks. Once it starts going on for 3 weeks or more, it takes me like weeks, not rather than days, to recover. So I've said this before, actually, if it goes past 10 days in a row, it takes me at least that long to recover. If it's 10 days, it takes me 10 days. If it's 2 weeks, it takes me, starts taking longer because it's more damage done temporarily to my brain and my body. My body is really hurting from the 7 weeks of energy attacks this year. My legs are still swollen, so I have not recovered, and 1 week is not nearly enough time. I need about 30 days from probably without being hit with energy attacks. But ban Palantir and Alex Karp. They are deceptive. They are AI-run human sorting systems. And anybody that's responsible for AI that causes any harm to anyone needs to be charged and put in prison for that. And if they cause an accidental death or a wrongful death, they need to go to prison for the rest of their life along with their AI system. Wade Allen Heineman, youtube.com/@WadeAllenHeineman. June 1st, 2025, 5:38 p.m. Not left Iowa in 2025. Not worked for anyone since 2018. Never been female and never wanted to be in any way whatsoever. I've never sought medical ways to alter me in any way. That's myths created and propagated by the far right and any connection to the Middle East or any other country other than the USA. I've always been a loyal USA citizen. Anything else is staged lies by criminal frauds. Never been in the military, never been married, not ridden a motorcycle since 1996. Absolutely no connection whatsoever to anyone who rides a motorcycle since 2005. They are involved in thieving me and staging lies for many years now. Some of you know who they are. I don't. I don't have any connection to anyone other than my parents, who are 84 and 83 years old, Jerry and Lois at the Red and White Barn Home, since 2017, in any way whatsoever in Iowa or the USA, romantically, sexually, friendship, work-wise, family, other than them. And my parents are not involved in any way in my finances. They don't give me money. The only money I have now is from my property sale and from some inheritance from my uncle Dorlin, who died last year, which I have already documented. There's no illegal money. I'm not associated with any, quote, drop site, or this was indicated again today. I'm not in any way doing any illegal activity. That would be the criminals breaking into my home and vehicle since 2013, staging lie after lie after lie after lie, and many of them are these people on motorcycles.